Welcome to the show radio. And now, here is your host, Andrew Alliance.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for downloading episode 333 of the show radio. My name is Andrew, and this is your source for tech, gaming, and entertainment news. Head over to theshowradio.info. Once again, that's theshowradio.info, and check out my past shows. While you're there, subscribe and tell a friend about the show. The show is on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Google Play. Definitely tell your friends about the show. Subscribe and let me know what you think. Definitely let me know what you think about the show. This particular episode is going to be focused on Nintendo Switch as well as Zelda Breath of the Wild impressions. I did also play a couple of other games during the hands-on preview tour recently that I attended over the weekend. So definitely had some fun there. I actually surprised my daughter to this event. She had no idea where she was going, so definitely had some fun with her playing Nintendo Switch and some Nintendo Switch games. So first things first, definitely want to talk about the console. As you are already aware, the console actually comes out in March. There was a recent presentation done by Nintendo, as well as these tours that they're doing right now. But the thing that really struck me the most when I first saw the console is how small it really is, right? So definitely looked at the console itself while it was docked. First thing, one of the games that I played while I was there was Ultra Street Fighter 2, the new challengers. That was cool. They look redrawn. Definitely had Violent Ken, and one of the things that I was playing, also Evil Ryu was present, and there was also a classic mode there as well. Also, another thing I did notice is how tiny, I guess tiny might be the theme word here. The controllers are really small, like really small. And even just checking out certain games with it, I also played Mario Kart 8 on the platform, on the console hybrid platform, if you will. And I did a tabletop mode with my daughter. We played Mario Kart. It was like an arena style type gameplay. So that was really cool. Definitely played Street Fighter on the Pro controller. That was cool, and it felt great, using the controller. And definitely enjoyed playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. But I don't want to jump early into that, too quick into that, but definitely want to touch on handhelds as I've experienced them over the years. So checked out the Game Gear over the years, also the Game Boy back in the day. My first console was the NES. And then right after that, not too long after that, I ended up getting the Game Boy. I've always enjoyed handheld consoles. And even now, just thinking about the progression of all the different consoles that we've seen, as well as the handheld we've seen, one of the things that's still happening even right now as far as a culture, we here in the States are more of a console culture versus the international or Japan. That side of the world is more of the handheld culture. And then I recently pulled up an article that I saw talking about the company Nippon Ichi Software, or Nippon Ichi Software, depending how you say that. And one of the guys that represented that particular company said that PS4 sales are incredibly strong, and we will continue making games for the platform. And this is what he was saying. However, in Japan, we can't just ignore the move to portable gaming consoles. And I found that particular line very interesting, because I've always seen or understood that particular side of the world, if you will, to be in handheld culture and system, just the way the 3DS has sold so much over there. And even the PS Vita did okay, but not as well as, the 3DS and some other consoles that are considered handheld by nature. So it's not a surprise to me, and I guess as I was thinking about it, it's not a surprise to me to see that Nintendo actually took the time to design this particular console, which is a hybrid between the handheld culture as well as the console culture, to meet the best of both worlds, if you will. So I guess obviously some of the game attractions that we know of right now is Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's one of their big titles, and that is actually going to be launching with the console. And definitely want to talk about that and my experiences there. Some of it might be spoilers, some of it might not be. I'm sure there's gameplay already for Zelda Breath of the Wild, so I don't necessarily consider anything that I'm going to say about the game actually to be spoiler stuff. But definitely, just think about, those things. Also, in that particular article, it says, or he was saying, our games are well suited to portable gaming, right? And that's the PS Vita and the PS4 stuff, some of the PS4 stuff as it translates to the PS Vita. So when you think about it, it's important for PS4 and Nintendo Switch to balance each other out and do well. Now, as far as, who's dominating the handheld market over there in Japan, I would say it's Nintendo. I definitely wouldn't say it's PS Vita, but even still, I would consider myself an individual who's still interested in the PS Vita right now, just for the fact that I've been spending most of my time on a PlayStation. My daughter, she has a 3DS, so we have the best of both worlds in that regard. But looking at this particular shift, going back to what made Nintendo great, what made Nintendo very, very popular, not just with the Nintendo console, but as well as the gaming culture, the handheld gaming culture. And I think it's a great move towards that particular aspect of gaming again. So Nintendo is making changes. A lot of the changes that they're making, I know for a fact that we don't necessarily like where they're going. They're moving towards the mobile platform. Super Mario Run did really well. Made a lot of money, and now they're looking to do the same thing with this hybrid console called the Nintendo Switch. So as far as specs and stuff like that, I don't necessarily want to highlight specs for the Nintendo Switch. Technically, it's not going to be a very, very powerful console versus the other, twin towers, if you will, in the market space with the Xbox and the PlayStation platforms. But their goal is to make sure that they cater to the individuals in the States as well as the individuals internationally, especially how you could take the system out of the dock and just go on your way. And I like that particular thing. So played a couple of games. So I have a list in front of me. Going to tell you some of the games that I played, what I thought about them. Mario Kart, I did mention already, which is really great. FAST RMX, played that. That was like a Wipeout type of game. And I really enjoyed that. I didn't do that well. My daughter really took first place there. Splatoon I did not play, but it was there. Super Mario Odyssey was there as a screen demo. It wasn't a playable demo. Just Dance was playable. And of course, they made sure that they mentioned that these games are still under development. So if you know anyone who has played these games this past weekend, they weren't games that were already done, so definitely want to mention that. Super Bomberman was there, was playable. Disgaea 5 was there, playable. Sonic Mania, I did see that, played that with my daughter. Tetris, Puyo Puyo Tetris was there. Skylanders was there, playable. Snipper Clips, I did not see that, but it is listed here, so I'm sure it was playable. I just didn't see it. ARMS was there. 1-2 Switch, that was there. It's listed here. And so let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Definitely want to talk about that. So I've played Zelda over the years, but what I did notice is that I am at a stage in my life, in my gaming life, RPG games are what's holding my attention. If it has an element of RPG in it, then it seems like that will hold my attention longer than the games that I could just play for a little bit and then just put down, right? So Zelda Breath of the Wild, it started out with Link in this water thing, and then it drained, and you had nothing but your boxers on. So you had to find pants, you had to find a shirt type thing, and then from there you went out into the open field. Then I ran into this old man, and he was telling me some stuff, and then he talked to me about an axe that was nearby. I grabbed the axe, I equipped it, and, I started, killing some monsters. And after killing the monsters, they dropped some weapons. I was able to pick up the weapons that the monsters dropped. And then from there, you equip them. And then when I pulled up the screen, it showed me what the level of that weapon was, whether it was 3 or 4, or going from 4 to 5, depending the weapon I was switching from and the weapons I was switching to, right? That kind of a thing. Then, did the on-screen, the display thing. There was one area I was able to sneak behind one of the characters to try to kill them without them seeing me, that kind of a thing. You can also do the same thing for horses. If you're trying to tame horses, you sneak behind them. You can actually parachute to the horses if you want to do that, and try to parachute onto the horses and then try to tame them, from there. Also, One of the things I did notice is there's a whistling mechanism that Link does, and I asked the lady that was showing me the game, is the whistling an attractor or a distractor? So she really thought about it before actually answering me, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit of both. Right, because I didn't get an actual answer from her, and I'm sure there's a reason, for that. So overall gameplay, feel, music, atmosphere, the 20-minute demo felt like a 5-minute demo, and I think that in and of itself is absolutely amazing, especially the landscape that you're able to journey through, if you will, for Zelda Breath of the Wild is so huge. I mean, I don't even know how many hours you're going to lose in that particular game. So another thing that I did notice also is there was this not a laptop, but this handheld thing that you get at the beginning of the demo where that thing is giving you directions on where to go and stuff like that, right? So, you get that at the beginning, and then you go on. You can pick up boxes, barrels, not boxes. You can pick up barrels and throw them, that kind of a thing. And the game feels great. I didn't have any issues playing the game. The lady at one point asked me, do you want to undock the Switch and play on a handheld? And I was like, I guess I can do that. So I did that for like maybe 2-3 seconds and then went back to the Pro Controller because I felt better just using the Pro Controller because I was just sitting there. I didn't feel the need for me to actually undock the system for me to play it that way. The option is there, but I wasn't really going anywhere, so it was fine for me to, just do that. But if I was, let's say, in my studio playing the game, and I decided, okay, I don't want to be in my studio anymore, I want to go into my bedroom, that made sense for me to undock the system from playing with the Pro Controller to going to take the Switch off the dock and going into the bedroom and then playing it that way or something like that. So that's kind of cool. I like the feature. It's not a feature that I know for a fact I'm going to embrace in every situation. I do not ride the train that much. I'm not as mobile, I guess, like that, if that makes any sense. If I'm driving, I'm driving. If I'm on the train, I'm either listening to some music or something like that. I don't necessarily see myself playing a handheld console on the train, so I haven't necessarily mapped that out yet for me as it relates to the Nintendo Switch. Now, questions came up from different texts I received and stuff like that, and I was being asked, well, would you buy the console, right? Would you buy it? Would you buy it now? And for me, it's Nintendo. I haven't purchased a Nintendo system in a long time, if ever. I don't ever recall me buying a Nintendo system. Even now, I don't have a Nintendo system right now. So that's not a positive or a negative. It's just, even with all the awesome Mario Kart games and things like that I've released, I've never been really pushed to purchase the system, right? Whether it's Wii or Wii U or things like that. Now, if you gave me a Wii U, I'd find a reason to use it. But outside of that, it's never been really a push for me. Now, based on what I saw, in terms of fun factor and replayability for some of the games that I experienced, especially Zelda Breath of the Wild, I would say that game in and of itself, that game will keep you for any other good games that's going to be released on the actual platform. So I don't necessarily have anything negative to really say about the system. It's really your choice if you decide to go for it or not. But understand that the new design and the direction that the company is going to makes sense for the company, because they're trying to appeal, if you will, and cater to the East as well as the West. So I kind of get that. But in terms of Mario Kart and Zelda, if you're looking for a game to play on the Switch, obviously, that you're not going to be able to play anywhere else, that's Zelda, right? And Mario and the other things, not necessarily Street Fighter, but Zelda alone is enough for you to make a case for if you want to pick up the Switch or not. But then you'll have the other side that say, well, I'm not going to necessarily buy a system for just one game. And that's fine. You don't have to, right? You don't have to. That's your choice. But for individuals who know for a fact that they're going to play Zelda anyway, and that's one of their primary games that they're looking forward to playing on the system, well, you might as well just put your pre-order in right now and get ready to get it in March, right? Because right around April is what, tax stuff? So you might as well just prepare to get the system right away because you know you're going to be playing Zelda anyway, right? So once you get the system, you have it now, then you're going to be on a gaming watch, if you will, for all the titles that you're looking forward to that's going to come out. And who knows, if the system is, I think it is, region free, you're going to get some titles that are going to be localized west to east and then go from there. So would I purchase it now? For the individuals who are interested in the Nintendo Switch right now, I said, why not? Why wouldn't you? If you're excited for the titles that are going to show up on the console, even some of the launch titles, specifically Zelda, Breath of the Wild, specifically that in and of itself will keep you for a while other games release, and my personal opinion. So had a lot of fun with that. Definitely that 20-minute demo didn't even feel like 20 minutes. I was in a different world when I played that. It was absolutely amazing. I had a great time with it. I would definitely find a reason or a way to play that game. It just gives me something to look forward to. Maybe this will be my first Nintendo system in a long time because Nintendo, my NES was a gift. The emulator stuff is not necessarily, a gift, but you get to play emulators and different things for the nostalgia effect. Back in the day games like Contra and stuff like that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. So I don't have necessarily anything negative to say. The only thing I would say is pay attention to the actual moves that companies like Nintendo and PlayStation are making on the handheld side of things, right? You may not necessarily see a lot of news or even a lot of information come out of the conferences and stuff like that for PS Vita or things like that. But that doesn't mean that those games aren't necessarily being released and you just don't know about it. So whether it's a region-free PS Vita that you're looking into or even 3DS or the Nintendo Switch, which I understand or I believe to be region-free as well, there's going to be some games for those platforms that may have your interest, and you just have to, whether you Google it or follow those companies to see what those games are going to be, you should definitely be on the lookout for what's happening with the handheld culture right now. So these are some of the thoughts that I had on this particular console. I know the presentation that recently took place on YouTube, I really didn't get a lot from that. Well, I'll say this. I'll definitely link that in the show notes because there were some dates for release and there were some presentations that were just, I felt like they were just blowing smoke because they didn't show any pictures or any gameplay or anything like that. That's just my personal opinion. But outside of that, when I took the time to go play the Nintendo Switch, I had a great time. My daughter had a great time. And it was a great atmosphere. And Nintendo's mission is to make you smile anyway, so I think you're definitely going to get that. So be on the lookout, specifically, as I was saying, the handheld culture for Nintendo as well as PS Vita. Now, PS Vita may not necessarily feel like a competitor to Nintendo, whether it's a 3DS or even this Switch coming out, but I definitely feel like there is some value there or some value that can be added to your gaming life or to someone else's gaming life. Maybe you want to gift it to somebody else because they're into that world. So these are my thoughts for this Nintendo stuff, as well as Zelda. Had a great time playing those things, and that's all I have here. So I hope you enjoyed this particular conversation or this particular, reflection of the Show Radio episode 333. That's crazy, 333. The show is on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. Subscribe with your favorite podcatcher or podcast app. Definitely share it with your friends. May throw a Nintendo track there somewhere here as we're getting ready to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great day. Take care.
You're listening to The Show Radio. Visit our blog at theshowradio.info. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes at theshowradio.info/iTunes. theshowradio.info/iTunes.